Welcome to Timber&Terra. I'm Glenn, and I'm actually at the site here of the end of our last video, which is part 3. This is harvesting some pasture spruce. This last tree fell in the direction I was not intending it to, and it's really bugged me. So I've thought about it, and I've come back to look at the stump, and my theory last time was that I was not able to cut the strap off to release it to fall in the direction that I wanted to, which was that away towards the tractor. Instead, it fell that away. And it took down a bunch of what I would have considered really nice young fir trees. There's still plenty around here, so it's not like they're going to become extinct on my property by any means. But if you remember the last video, if you watched it, and if you didn't, it's in the playlist. It's number 3. I'll put the playlist in the description. But normally when you hit a wedge, you can sort of feel if it's doing anything, if it's moving. And if it's not doing anything, it feels like you're hitting a concrete wall, and that's what it felt like. But the one thing I think maybe I underestimated was the factor of the wind. The tree was leaning that way, the opposite direction I wanted it to fall. But it wasn't a hard lean. I knew the wind was blowing, and it's a fairly tall tree, and it had nothing blocking the wind, which was coming directly over the tractor towards us. So I think I underestimated the factor of the wind. So it felt like it was the wedges were hitting against sort of solid a cut there, but I don't think it was. So I'm guessing if I had continued to tap on the wedges, or maybe if I had a sledgehammer instead of a hatchet, it would have done what I wanted it to. But the couple things that I mentioned in that video, which would have eliminated that problem or made it less of a problem so that I probably could have fallen in the direction that I wanted to, was one, cutting the notch not as deep so it didn't leave me a lot of room on the back cut, and the other thing was to use the cable and pull it over, because I just would have pulled it that away. That would have worked out well. But you can see this is the stump. This is where I was trying to put the wedges in, and you can see it was really hitting hard against the wood there, but the strap was right here, and I did cut it all off. It's a little piece of wedge there, that green. But in doing what I thought was trying to finish cutting the strap off, I ended up cutting a good part of the hinge. This was a decent hinge, but when this pulled out, this eventually broke when I kept pounding the wedge in. Instead of falling the tree this way, it actually broke that off, and then it was able to fall in that direction, using sort of that as a hinge, and it fell that way. So, post-mortem on that, don't underestimate the wind. Okay, now let's turn our attention to the 2 trees that are next on the agenda. And those 2 trees are these. Another twin, a dynamic duo of trees. What I'd like to do is fell both of them that way. The last video I sort of cleared out that little opening. It had some junk trees and some shrubs. A couple small fir there may be a casualty, but obviously like to save the cedar there to the right. I don't think there's anything to the left there that I can damage. They're far enough away. I might brush the tops. There's not any significant lean to these. Huh, that's what I thought last time. This one here, the branches are all on this side. This one will be an easy fall. This one sort of identical to the other one, where I'm falling it in the opposite direction. If there is a lean, it would be that way. And I do have the weight of the branches, but thankfully it is dead calm today, no wind. So I'd like to fell them both that away, and then we'll see. I'll either, there's the road there, either drag them out where my tractor is, but probably drag it out somewhere along here, roadside. And with all these, it's too muddy to try to drag them out now. So when the conditions dry out, then I'll come by with my logging trailer and grapple and pick them up. That gave a lot more resistance than I thought it was going to. And I'm still not sure why. My hinge looks good, about an inch there, maybe an inch and a half, perhaps 2 inches there. I ended up boring through the center of the hinge. That seemed to make a difference. And then I doubled up the hinges over here because I was running out of thickness. It was, as you probably saw, it was leaning quite heavily. And it did twirl off that fir, but it did not damage it quite a bit on its way down. So it actually did a 180. So these branches, if it had fallen straight, would be in the ground. Now they're facing up, which is a lot easier to cut them off instead of having to go underneath. Interesting. It looks like I did take a big branch down there from the popple up there, but that's fine. Some indications of punkiness. Yeah, punky there. More solid on the outside, but the inside, that reddish, is punky. So hopefully it clears up, because this is a really nice log. It's large diameter, straight. I'm guessing whatever that one is, this is probably going to be the same. All right, well, I'll trim this up and we'll cut it back and see if there's any salvageable logs. I did end up taking several bolts or cookies off the end. I think this is just discoloration now. It was certainly punky, where you can almost see around the edge of the heartwood there where it has discoloration, like it's almost spalted. Here, that softness went away, but there's still a little bit of reddish color, a little deeper there. But at the top it cleared up. So what I was able to cut is, I have a 16-foot log and a 10-foot log. I decided to cut them here just because I don't have really enough room for it to swing around tree length without running into something. So I'll drag out the 16-footer and come back and get the 10-footer. Maybe I can salvage that. I think that's a white spruce on the near side and the small fir further out. So I got 50 board feet from the 16-footer and 20 from the short, the 10-footer. It's only 7 inches, 7 to 8 inches on the top end. So that's sort of marginal. Just try to get what I'm looking for is 3x7 dimension lumber for floor joists that'll be exposed. Aesthetically, that dimension seems to look good. Strength-wise, it's more than I need for the span that I have. And they're full dimension, so a full 3-inch, full 7-inch. But I'm looking for about 2,000 board feet of 10-foot and for 16-foot, so I am a long ways away still. All right, let's do this maybe more challenging than the first one. Well, let's hope it turns out better than the other twin set of trees I did last video. So the lessons I learned are cut a shallower notch on the face, and we'll worry about the back. I will maintain that that release strap, or that holding strap on the back like I did last time. Just be more mindful of things when I put the wedges in. I didn't do a good job meeting it, so I'm a little bit high on this end, but the strap is clear. It's just a matter of pounding it over now. Boy, if I keep learning these lessons, I'm gonna be pretty smart. Yeah, I went quite a bit too high, probably twice as high as I should have. Normally I think about an inch above the face cut is where you put the back cut. This side I was okay, but as you saw, I didn't meet up with sort of my mark, so it's a bit too high on this side. Looking at it, looks like I have the same rot in the center. But boy, the outside looks nice, and I'm guessing that'll clear up pretty quickly. So that cleaned up nicely. It's just the center, it's not nearly as punky. Again, probably just discoloration. But that's again another 16-foot log and a 10-foot log. This one I'm gonna keep intact. I marked where the cut is, basically where that stump is. But I think I can twirl it around and drag it out and then cut it at the tractor. So to avoid the cable rubbing hard against that tree, I've actually attached the cable up about 4 feet from the butt end. Sometimes that can be a problem because things will get caught. If it is, after it swings around, I'll relocate the cable near the butt end. If not, I'll just continue to drag it, cut that, and then even end them over there. That's a 20, I think it's either a 24 or 25 inch bar, but anyhow, about 2 feet. So that's what the stump is at the ground level. Looks like it started out as a single tree, and then early on, I don't know, it could have been two that sort of germinated right next to each other. It looks like the heart of the other one sort of starting to grow at an angle. Anyhow, you know, with the root, the growth rings are a little bit exaggerated, but yeah. So like the other ones, this one I count. I'll count the rings here because I counted them on one of the stumps there, but the rings got rather close together. But here I can probably count them a bit easier, even without glasses. But I think it was probably about 40 to 60 years old, but I'll count it, let you know. So I counted 56 rings. I mean, obviously I could be off by several years one way or the other, so somewhere in the 50 to 60 year old range is probably where it's at. So the next one is that one there, which is an uglier white spruce. This one here, I'm pretty sure it was a white spruce. The bark, it still has those more circular scales. But what I did not do yet is do the sniff test. Yeah, it's cat urine smell, so it's white spruce. This little one here, these two trees somehow survived, both of those, although it may not survive this one. I'm going to follow this one in the same direction. But I'm guessing this is a white spruce, probably an offspring of the one we just cut down. Yep. Pungent. And a little fir tree there. So I'll take that one down before I leave the area. Some of these smaller firs I'm going to take down so that the larger ones have all the light. This one here, I think it's been hit too many times. I think it started to uproot. I'll probably take that one down and then just let these other smaller ones around it flourish. But some of these other small ones will really just never make it beyond a 30-foot spindle. So, all right, I'll clean up the bottom of this and we'll come back when it's time to fell it. So there's our notch. So this one is doesn't have any obvious lean. Branches are pretty much all around the tree equally. So I just went in, started my back cut. As soon as I had room, I put a wedge in there rather than doing the holding strap thing. So right now I still have probably 2 or 3 inches worth of wood to cut. It'll either go, or with some motivation from the wedges, it should fall basically where the other trees fell. Another fast grower, early on, slowed down. Guessing the same age. Boy, that smells really nice. That's probably the freshest, sweetest smelling tree I've cut in the last several weeks. Real strong. Well, it's almost a balsam smell, even though it's not balsam. Let's take care of that jungle of branches and see what we have here for logs. So that limbed up after a fair amount of work. It is not an easy task to limb up those pasture spruce or pasture pine. Is the other species that can sort of develop the same characteristics with large lower limbs. So same story, 16-footer, 10-footer. While I was here, I did thin out a couple of those spindly firs, sort of to leave the ones that looked the healthiest. There was one that had a double top that I took down, for instance. And I also took that leaner, which was probably 4 or 5 inches in diameter at breast height, because I think the roots are damaged by being hit twice. That little spruce, hopefully you can see right there where I'm pointing, and that little fir still made it, so they'll be here. So I did cut this, so I'm going to drag them both out at the same time. That should work well. Don't have to worry about swinging the 27-foot log. Don't have to worry about hitting that tree. Those little ones there, they may not amount to anything, but no sense damaging them at the time being. And then the next one that we'll tackle after I drag these out is right in there. So there's a nice fir growing next to it, which is better because the one on the left you can sell commercially. You can see the branches may be about as numerous, but they're not nearly as big, so they don't impact the structural integrity of dimension lumber like the pasture spruce can, with all those big limbs and big knots. But this area, still I'm in the area where I'm managing for cedar, so you know, having these trees down really opens up the light to, you can see a cedar there, a clump there, a clump there, a single one there, a clump there. The cedar's all over the place. It's a nice one over there. All right, let's drag these out and continue on. So this one, I'll clean up the branches before we cut it, obviously. There's the ones that we felled all that way. I'm thinking I'm going to fell it this way. I may take down these red maple. These fir are old but small, but there's a cedar right there I don't want to damage. So there's another one of these white spruce, although not really pasture spruce because the lower branches have sort of been hidden from the sun, I'm guessing, because the branches are really not that big. There's a couple that still have needles, but most of them don't. That can either come or go. I don't really care much, but you can see my tractor perhaps on the other side. Once I have it down, I could drag it out that way, but the fir is right behind that spruce, which is a decent fir. I'm not going to take it down. Or you can see a white stump there and some logs to the left. My other road is over there. So I'm thinking it's going to be best to drag it out top first once I have it on the ground. So I think I will do that. I'll take down all these red maple, clean up around here, and fell it right where I stand. So we've all cleaned up around the bottom there. Took care of some brushy stuff here. Took care of that clump of red maple. So I should have a fairly clear lane to follow this tree. The notch is cut. The wood looks sound so far. Another fast grower, basically early to midlife. These are only like a 1/16 of an inch apart, 1/8 inch in diameter a year. But nice sound wood. Let's see what we can get out of this for logs. So this is my best log yet, I think. 2 16-footers. So I have a 33-foot long stem. Just gotta figure out where to take it. So this is the other road. For point of reference, there's the first couple trees we cut over there. There's the base of that one. And just beyond over there is the road where my tractor was. I've moved my tractor over there. It's that little orange thing peeking through the trees. So straight ahead is right there. I think I'll try to sneak it through there between that young fir and that gray birch. Normally if I can do it straight without turning it, I can pretty much sneak it through without damaging any nearby trees. So let's see. There are a lot of branches from these pasture spruce. Much more than the fir that I normally cut, mostly from blowdowns and stuff. So I think that'll work fine. I can either set my tractor up there. Probably is best. Right here I'm just running out of room, although I probably could sneak it in there. And there's the tree right there, so I think that'll work fine. Well, that worked out fairly well. Quite a chunk of logs right here. Cleared out quite a bit. You can see the whites of the stumps. These near ones are from the previous video. And that one way over there is the one we just took out. And then you can probably see a white right over there. One that we cut just a bit ago. Okay, well, I appreciate you watching this video. I hope you stay tuned for part 5. This was part 4, right? Okay, I think. Thanks for watching.